Welcome back to part 2 of Life Along the Nile in Ancient Egypt. We have covered part 1. Now, let's move to part 2, and we would be starting part 2 with health and medicine in ancient Egypt. When it came to health and medicine, to the ancient Egyptians, medicine was a sacred art, blending practical treatments with deep spiritual beliefs. Disease was thought to be caused by both physical and supernatural forces, imbalances in the body, curses, or the displeasure of the gods. As a result, healers approach sickness from two angles: science and magic. Doctors, known as Sunu, were highly respected and specialized in various fields. Some treated common illnesses, others focused on surgery, and some served the royal family. They used an impressive array of remedies, from herbal concoctions made with honey, garlic, and myrrh to more advanced treatments like setting broken bones and stitching wounds with linen thread. Temples also served as healing centers, where priests of Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of medicine, performed rituals to drive out sickness. Spells and amulets were commonly used alongside medicinal treatments, demonstrating the Egyptians' belief that true healing required both divine favor and medical skill. The ancient Egyptians were also master observers of the natural world. They developed a sophisticated understanding of mathematics, allowing them to build structures that have stood for millennia. They divided the year into 365 days, organizing time into a solar calendar that would influence civilizations for centuries to come. Astronomy played a crucial role in religious and agricultural life. By studying the stars, Egyptian priests could predict the annual flooding of the Nile, ensuring successful harvests. The precise alignment of temples and pyramids with celestial bodies reveals a deep understanding of the heavens, one that still astounds modern scientists. In every aspect of their lives, the Egyptians blended logic with faith, observation with tradition. Their discoveries in education, medicine, and science laid the groundwork for future civilizations, proving that knowledge was as valuable as gold. To the Egyptians, learning was not just a pursuit, it was a legacy, passed down through generations, ensuring that their civilization would not only survive but thrive for thousands of years. Another important aspect of the ancient Egyptians was the rituals of death. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, rather it was a passage, a journey into a world beyond, where life continued in a form more glorious and eternal. But to reach this paradise, one had to be prepared. Death was a test, and only those who followed the sacred rites could hope to pass into the afterlife. From the moment of death, preparations began. The body, a sacred vessel, had to be preserved for the soul to recognize it in the next world. This led to one of the most sophisticated burial practices in history: mummification. Egyptian embalmers were skilled in the art of preservation. The process began with the removal of internal organs, which were carefully placed in canopic jars, each guarded by a protective deity. The brain, considered unimportant, was often discarded, while the heart, believed to be the seat of intelligence and emotion, was left inside or replaced with a sacred amulet. The body was then treated with natron, a natural salt, to dry it out before being wrapped in layers of linen. Each bandage was placed with care, sometimes inscribed with prayers, sometimes layered with charms to ward off evil. Finally, the mummified body was adorned with a mask, ensuring that the soul would recognize itself in the afterlife. But preservation was only one part of the journey. The deceased needed a final resting place, a tomb that would serve as both a house and a gateway to eternity. For the wealthy, this meant grand pyramids or richly decorated rock-cut tombs, filled with treasures, food, and everything needed for a comfortable afterlife. Even the poorest Egyptians were buried with simple offerings, for no one wished to enter the afterlife empty-handed. Walls of tombs were covered in scenes from the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and instructions to guide the soul through the perils of the underworld. These sacred texts ensured that the deceased knew what to expect in the next life, warning of trials and providing magical words to overcome them. But the journey to the afterlife was not without its challenges. In the Hall of Tetrudes, the deceased stood before Osiris, ruler of the underworld. Here, the ultimate test awaited: the weighing of the heart. The heart, representing the sum of a person's deeds, was placed on a scale and weighed against a feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was light, free from wrongdoing, the soul was granted passage into the field of reeds, a paradise where the dead could live in peace, surrounded by all they had loved in life. But if the heart was heavy with sin, it was cast into the jaws of Ammit, the devourer. A fearsome creature, part lion, crocodile, and hippopotamus. For those judged unworthy, there was no second chance. Their souls would be lost forever, erased from existence, and for those who passed the test, eternity awaited. The field of reeds was a reflection of life along the Nile, bountiful, beautiful, and serene. Here, the righteous lived as they had on earth, but without suffering or hardship. They farmed, fished, and feasted, reunited with loved ones and watched over the living from the realm of the divine. The Egyptians built their lives around the promise of eternity. Every act of kindness, every prayer, every ritual was a step toward this final goal. To them, the afterlife was not a distant dream, it was a certainty, a future they prepared for from the moment they were born. And so, through their beliefs and their careful rituals, the Egyptians ensured that death was not to be feared, but embraced, a sacred journey to a life everlasting. Though the sands of time have shifted, covering the temples and tombs of ancient Egypt, their legacy remains. The people who lived along the banks of the Nile, farmers, artisans, scribes, and pharaohs, built a civilization that continues to captivate and inspire us thousands of years later. Their daily lives, though rooted in a distant past, reflect timeless human experiences, hard work, devotion to family, the pursuit of knowledge, and a deep reverence for the mysteries of life and death. They observed the stars, engineered wonders that defy time, and developed systems of governance, medicine, and writing that laid the foundation for future civilizations. Even now, their influence lingers in ways we might not expect. The calendar we use today owes its structure to the Egyptians' careful study of the sun. Their medical knowledge, recorded on papyrus scrolls, informed later advancements in healing. Their grand monuments and intricate hieroglyphs continue to speak, telling stories of the people who dreamed of eternity and sought to leave their mark upon the world. Perhaps this is their greatest achievement, not just in what they built, but in how they remind us of the enduring nature of human ambition, creativity, and belief. The ancient Egyptians lived with the certainty that life was fleeting, but legacy was eternal. And in that, they were right, for as long as we continue to learn from their world, they will never truly be gone. This was daily life along the Nile, not just a moment in history, but a civilization that still whispers through the ages, calling us to remember, to wonder, and to dream. Thanks for tuning into the past. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more stories that shaped our world.